I'm going to try something a little bit sillier today for the background. This is Mars, courtesy of NASA, which of course makes it public domain. Thanks, NASA. And that relates directly to today's theme, which is that you don't want to be overly constrained by reality, by things that are reasonable, realistic, expected. Part of what I think was the magic of being a child, for many of us, is this uncertainty of like anything could happen. That part of why maybe horror movies are so much scarier as a kid than as a grown-up is this idea that literally behind any door, even if you just look behind it, there could be a zombie. There could be, right? As we grow older, we get to know, like, yeah, there's not going to be. It's going to be fine. The room's going to be exactly how I left it. The world around us has this persistence to it. It has this logic and pretty plain simplicity to it. But that all these other ideas that impact us when we're younger speak to the power of these things which we know are not possible, like sitting here hanging out talking on Mars, but still can be totally fun to think about. And as obvious as that seems, what I think is sometimes happen is we can get into the sort of pattern when we're making creative projects, when we're, so these videos count as a creative project of sorts, or when we're making games, when we're drawing, when whatever it is, of either modeling reality in a way that may not actually be all that interesting because it's reality, it's already there as is, or only sort of copying someone else's vision for how else things could be besides reality. When there's so much other possibility, there's so much other realm of things we can do, and again, I mean, this is something that I know everyone watching this, surely as a young kid, I think I was real big on, I would draw all kinds of, I was real big on buildings and clouds, for whatever reason, that was the real sort of theme for me, but I think for a lot of folks, it'd be like coming up with superhero powers. It'd be just inventing mythical creatures, right? And these are things that obviously media around us has ideas for, some inspirations for. Some people have been very commercially successful in inventing those kind of things and branding them and developing those properties, whether we're talking Harry Potter or X-Men or whatever. But this is totally different from that. This is about just our own and our own small projects. That this reminder that you don't need anyone else's permission, you don't need anyone else's support, you don't need anyone else's okay to come up with characters in your games, creatures in your drawings that have no basis in anything outside of it in terms of, obviously it's going to be inspired by some things you've thought or seen before, but it doesn't have to be, X-Men or Harry Potter or something else to be still pretty awesome, to give you a lot of flexibility and freedom in terms of what you're doing with it, in terms of where it goes, in terms of what's going to separate it from other things, that it doesn't have to be based in reality. And I think when we base these things overly in reality, we're doing ourselves and our players or viewers or readers or whatever a disservice. So that's thought for today, just to kind of keep our imaginations open to appreciate that is something worth practicing, experimenting, exploring, trying some bizarre things, seeing where that leads us. Just because, in part we can, in part because I think it helps keeps our minds kind of nimble, keeps our thoughts a little more free than we let them get hooked up a little too closely to reality and the world around us as it is, when of course part of what helps us move forward is when we can think of the world as it isn't, and maybe that's a topic for another day, finding ways to lead it in that direction. That's all for today though. Thanks always for tuning in. I'll have another video for tomorrow.